Hello, my name is Bob Baer. I'm the director of the Center for Innovation in Transition and Employment at Kent State University. And we're working very closely with the Office of Career and Technical Education and the Office for Exceptional Children to bring you some information that we think will be very useful for you in teaching students with a wide range of learning needs. I hope you will see me as someone who can help you in researching your needs and adapting some of the best training that's out there to the needs of your students in your classrooms. We're talking about improving the performance of all students, not just students with disabilities, and universal design for learning can do that.
Over the years that I've worked with a number of career and technical education teachers, one of the biggest challenges that they mention is working with students with special needs. A key component of universal design is the flexibility of the approach when you're teaching career and technical education students in the classroom, in the lab, as well as student organizations. All these problems that we identified led to the creation of the CTE project. And we are hoping that with the resources that we have in place, based on the website as well as the workshops that we are running, that we'll be able to give the CTE teacher the tools that they need to work with students with disabilities, be it in the classroom, in the lab, as well as student organizations.
What we've provided for you today is a wine tasting. We gave very brief coverage for the concepts, but we tried to give you some tools that you can take and use in your classroom right away. However, we don't expect you to become an expert from this short training. What we would like you to do is to come and visit our website at www.cteproject.com, and you can get more information about each of these topics, and it'll also give you information how you can contact us and arrange for us to come in and help you develop training for your own career technical education teachers. Good morning, and welcome to our training on career technical education for mixed ability classrooms. The CTE project was developed because a lot of our students are going into career and technical education with disabilities, but not just disabilities, all sorts of differing kinds of abilities. So one of the reasons that we had this project was to help career tech instructors, especially those that are coming straight from the business world, to serve the needs of very diverse students. Career technical education training really consists of 4 modules. Flexibility in presentation, engaging student, differentiating student responses to instruction, and eliminating barriers for special needs students. We're going to focus on 3 of those areas today, and these are defined in the Higher Education Act as comprising universal design for learning. And that is flexibility in the way that content is presented, flexibility in the ways that students are engaged with content, and flexibility in ways that students respond to content. And these are sort of the essential aspects of universal design as defined in the Higher Education Act of 2008. So let's look at our first module here, which is flexibility in ways that content is presented. And the first unit in this is the use of graphic organizers to enhance classroom presentations. Well, research indicates that students remember about 10% of what they hear. So an essential aspect of universal design for learning is that we want to increase the different ways that students are taking in information so that they're more likely to recall the information. So the focus on this is to create a mental picture of what you're teaching and to be creative in that, because we remember things that tend to be a little strange. Graphic organizers can be delivered in a number of ways. There are a lot of different ways. As you can see, we have dry erasable boards here. And the important thing to know about this is that it includes evidence-based teaching in the actual graphic organizer. So as you're instructing, if you follow this graphic organizer, you're also using 6 evidence-based teaching methods. The first aspect of this graphic organizer is to introduce the current unit using the title. Now the second step is very, very important, and those of you who have especially taught in secondary settings, but it may also be true in some of our college classes as well, sometimes the classroom is very noisy and disorganized when you come in. So we really like this second step before the teacher starts into the lecture of talking to your students and finding out what they know about the topic. Now these first 4 steps are part of a larger evidence-based practice, and that is that we want to contextualize the knowledge that students have in terms of what do they already know, what have they studied before, and what will they be studying next. The big question is why we think this particular lesson is relevant to them. Then we develop the key concepts. And generally, students can remember no more than 6 key concepts. And if you have a very diverse classroom, you may want to keep it to 3 or 4. So the importance of these are that we use short, easy names and colors. You can also in PowerPoint shape these bubbles so that they actually look like different things. The 7th step is self-test questions. Now some people might say, well, this is giving the questions out to your tests ahead of time. And actually it's not, but it's telling your students what are the things when they're taking notes and when they're listening to you, what are the kinds of things that they'll need to be able to answer after the lesson. And then finally we have the unit schedule. Activities and timelines are very, very important to give the student a sense of, am I keeping up with the class? What are the critical due dates? The second section for flexibility in presentation of content is using comics and graphic novels. We know all young people now are reading graphic novels. This is the new age, so us dinosaurs who teach from outlines and have our little transparencies and such, students aren't going to relate to that because they're used to a very media-rich environment. They're used to movies, and they're used to a lot of different sensory input when they're getting information. And now we're coming to the final aspect, and that's using sound fields to enhance auditory presentations. Because it's important to know that when you're decoding information, there are several steps in it. There's hearing the word, there's decoding the word, there's finding the meaning in the word. So if they're spending more time in that first step of hearing the word and decoding it, then what it is doing is it's lowering their comprehension. In fact, most of us, when we listen, we miss certain pieces of what we listen to. Have any of you taught with sound fields? Basically, the idea is put the speakers around the room. And when you do that, it creates what they call a sound field. And because it's high fidelity and it's set up to capture voices first, it doesn't have any woofers or anything like that, then it makes it much easier for students to screen out the background noise.